Yes, guys, and welcome from me. This is Championship Manager 0102. Something completely different now. I think I've got too much time on my hands, to be honest with you. So I did a little project with CM, and you know, like you get a lot of people like Cam on the forums who makes databases and does some amazing work. Well, it's nothing like that. I mean, I've done the Super League before. You may recall I did the Super League. Nothing on the scale of a complete database. I did the Super League. It's just like a little project almost. So I did a little project myself last week, and you can see in the title right there, Harchester United. Now, most of the average CM player is probably my sort of age, which probably means they probably watched the Sky One TV programme Dream Team, which first aired in 97 and finished in 07. It ran for 10 seasons, and it was based on a fictitious football club. If you don't know it, it's all on YouTube as well if you want to watch it. Now, me personally, right, I couldn't get into it season 1 and 2. It's fucking awful. I really struggled. Ron Atkinson played the actual manager as himself. And during the 10 seasons, various other people came into it as cameos for one episodes and stuff like that. But it was based on a fictitious football club, like a soap opera, really, like EastEnders, but on a football basis. And I started watching it from season 3. And so what I've done is I watched it quite, die hard every week. Sunday used to be on, and I created a club, Harchester. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I've done. I'm going to show you what we've done right here. So I started a club as Harchester. They're in the Premier League, and I've made 50 players, all to resemble a Harchester United player that appeared at some point post-millennium. I'm calling it post-millennium because I don't know much about seasons. I don't know nothing about season 1. Nothing about season 1 whatsoever. Season 2, a little bit here and there, because season 2 kicks in season 3, where I really started to enjoy it. Season 3 is personally my favourite, the whole of season 3. Because it's obviously football related. I think you had, I don't know what came first, this or Footballers' Wives. In fact, this came first, I'm pretty sure it did. Then Footballers' Wives came. And that was sort of like a make of it. So, what I've done, okay, I've put a Nick's Patcher in it, okay. Where should I start with this? I've gone a little bit OTT, to be honest with you, I really have. So, first of all, our home colours are the relevant colours to Harchester, known as the Dragons. So, our stadium, the Dragons Lair in Birmingham, as it was. Our general managers, now I did this a little bit weird. So I made the chairman, Linda Block, which of course she wasn't actually the chairman, she was the chief exec, but most people that have watched Dream Team will know who Linda Block is. The 3 general managers were all chairmen at some point, and they were all the rich bastards, that's why I put them as general managers. 5 coaches and 1 assistant manager I've placed as managers of Dream Team during that period. Ray Wyatt, Alan Rothman, Alex Dempsey, Don Barker, Jimmy Craig, the last one, and Patrick Doyle. And of course, I've even done their nationalities accordingly. Every single manager, coach, player, their date of birth is the 1st of the 1st. And their year is a rough guide as to what I think they were roughly when I first started watching it. Difficult with some players who were in multiple seasons. Okay. So my scouts are, see if you can see, any Dream Team fan, let's see if you can see what my pattern is on my scouts. Barbara Finch, Gordon Gallagher, Jeff Stein, Joel Brooks, Mark McNeil, Taylor Doyle, Wolfgang Mayer. Now they are all characters in Harchester. The question is, what's their character? Well, I've put them as scouts. And the 3 physios. Ready for this? Slight error here. Abby Fletcher. Ashley King. And that's my error. Gina Moliano, who wasn't technically a physio. She was more team coordinator. I know too much, don't I? Okay, so that is the non-playing staff. That is, they are known as the Dragons. Their stadium was called the Dragons Lair, and they are based in the East Midlands, Birmingham. Let's talk about their squad now then, and what we'll do is we'll include reserves on this as well. So what I've done, right, is because I know the program quite well. I know who was an average player, who was a good player, who was a world class player, as in scripted world class player. Alex Lawler, he weren't nothing more than a youth guy. I think he's a real player actually, but I'm told he's a real player. So I put him as a PA of 100. Every player has a PA, sorry, let me start that again. Every player has a CA of something different, either 100, 125, 150, and some 175. Everybody's PA is -2, which basically means that they could turn into a worldie, depending on what their CA is. So Alex Lawler is 100 CA. Nathan Woods, I put him as a CA 100 also. He had a role. That Lawler was barely in it. Nathan Woods did have a storyline. Jamie Parker, I think I've put him as a 125. And we've put in, of course, what I think I've put as a 150, Vivian Wright. There you see it. Okay, now, ordinarily, right, if you look at these positions, I've actually not put any natural left or right backs. And there's a reason I've done that. I've done that because in Dream Team, they never really emphasised full-backs. It was mostly ever centre-backs, centre-forwards, midfielders, wingers. So, I did that for a reason, because let me just go back to the non-playing staff. Every coach, every non-player, preferred formation, 3-5-2. Every single person. So, I'm going to set a challenge up for you at the end of this. Okay? You don't have to do it, of course. So, let's now talk about defence now then. So, Leon Richards. Died in a plane crash in Season 3. Darren Tyson, he was in it from about Season 5-6. So he wasn't a key player, put him as 100. John Black, he got shot at Wembley. How do you like that? He got shot at Wembley. And I've put him, I know that he's English/Jamaican, so I'll put him as that in terms of nationality. Didier Baptiste. Now, he was a World Cup winner within scripts, so I put him as a 175. Michael Dillon was a lazy defender. Stuart Naismith was a player/player manager, hence I put him as 34. Danny Sullivan, he was in it from Season 4 right through till Season 10. So this is where it's difficult, you see, with an age. Andy Answer, a real player as well. Andy Answer, he was in it as himself. Andy Answer. Danny Mills was a second-rate player. He was just like a squad player within the programme. Matt Conlon, he was only in it for one season. Peter Mack, another person that was only in it for here and there. Almost got the odd word in here and there. And in defence, finally, Frank Stone. Frank Stone was only in it for one season before dying in a Millennium bus crash. They've all died. It's silly. Jamie Parker, the goalkeeper, he was shot by MI5. How'd you like that? Okay, let's go into midfield then. Andrei Belinov wasn't 100% if he was Bulgarian. Belinov was in it for season, I want to say Season 6 or 7. Liam Mackay was in it for the last 2 seasons. Marcel Sabatier, he was killed by mistake with a lethal injection. Stevie Shaw died in a bus crash. Not the same bus crash that I just mentioned, may I add. Eddie Miliano, he left to go to, I think it was Switzerland. It was scripted that he was Italian/English. I've also done their positions to suit accordingly or as close to what I could. Tommy Valentine was never actually a Harchester player. He was only ever on loan. And he was in it from season 8, I think he was, for one season. And then their chairman, Eli Knox, the guy from Boys Own, lost the bet on the turn of a card and had to send him back on loan. Send him back or something like that. Gary Peggs, he was a little fucknut that deservedly got paralysed. So that was good stuff. Carl Kasky, he came into it, he was shit, he died. This guy here now, Bruce as he was known as, Zao Hang, he was, there was a storyline about they were worth a lot of money overseas, and he had it in his contract that he had to play, and they ended up injuring him intentionally. He was shit. Okay, Stuart Campbell. Now, not Stuart Campbell, sorry. Sean Campbell. He was in it in the last season. He weren't in it for very long. He was on it for the back end, but he's actually done quite a bit of acting, to be honest with you. Campbell Hooper was only in it for one season. He was also a real player, I believe. Not as his name, but I think he played for Southend United. I'm pretty sure. Ryan Naismith, he was in it for quite a long time, and he turned into an England international, but very injury-prone in the film. Also killed someone for drunk driving. Jason Porter, he was in it from season 10, and he was a sack of shit. He was just a little prick, couldn't act. Luisa Moore Rodriguez, the most common player that anyone knows within Dream Team, was in it from season 2 till the end of season 3, had one part in season 7 from archive footage, and he was an Argentine. Famously, he was supposed to get shot at the end of season 2, but didn't. It hit somebody else. Victor Tankiev. I don't know if he was in season 2, but he was barely in season 3 because he could barely speak English, and then he died in an aeroplane crash. An aeroplane that went missing, shall I say. Sean Hocknell, to my understanding, was in it in season 1 and 2, was in season 3, also was on that same aeroplane that Tank disappeared in, along with Leon Richards. Billy O'Neill was a youngster in it from season 2 to season 3. Did have a real small part in season 4, a real tiny part where he was doing an interview, and then because he left for West Ham. Clyde Connolly was a little job's worth. Came into it as a right little cunt, and deservedly threw himself off the stadium bridge, top, and died. So, as you do. I mean, you hear about this shit at Man United all the time, don't you? Scott Lucas came into it season 3, was in it till the end of season 4, came back for one episode, season 6, was a bit of a bad boy initially, but did actually mature well when he became a dad. Gavin Moody, he was a baby-faced little prick, who was in it from, I don't think he was in season 9, I think it was season 10 he came into it as a youth, and then all of a sudden, from a youth, he became a fucking superstar. Danny Rawsthorne came through the youth, turned into a worldie, played for Ireland, then realised he has no Irish credentials, but before being exposed of that, died on the bus crash on the M25. Of course he did. Okay, let's go now then to the strikers. We've done Campbell, we've done Wright. Okay, on to Curtis Alexander. First came into it in season 5, I think it was. No, maybe 6. For one episode. This is, of course, the guy that plays Jacob in Holby City, played Ray in EastEnders, then came back into it on a permanent basis, and then died in that Millennium bus crash. Of course he did. Miguel Lopez only came into it season 10, and was basically the heartthrob, for what it's worth. Roberto Mendoza was only in it for about 2-3 episodes during season 6, came into it, his manager deliberately put him through intense training and he broke his leg, and we never heard from him again. Pavel Kovac, now that was played by Nick Neven. He only played a few episodes as well, season 7, give or take, and I think he developed leukemia. He got leukemia, and it was left that he was getting treatment. No more was said about him. Linton Alexandra, the brother of Curtis, played by Robbie G, turned up in a lot of things. He was in Snatch, he was in Mean Machine, he's popped up all over the place. And he was a bit of a cunt in this, a bit of a woman beater, and he died in that M25 bus crash. Monday Bandili, now originally I put him as Nigerian/Irish because there was work permit issues, and he ended up marrying a woman called Siobhan to get an Irish citizenship. I was unsure whether to put him as Nigerian or Irish, or both, but I left him as Nigerian. Fuck it. He played for Nigeria in the thing, and I guess if I was going to have that thing, I should have put Danny Rawsthorne as Irish, because he played for Ireland, so who knows? Change it if you want. So that was Monday Bandili, who ended up leaving. He got tricked into leaving, and he had to leave for Galatasaray. Luke Davenport, now he's probably their record buy, and I made him a 175 because Luke Davenport, of course, came for big bucks in season 7 or 8, whatever it was. I think it was 8, actually. And then, of course, had an eye problem, carried on playing, and lost his eye. Lost his eyeball. So, you want storylines. There you go. He lost his eye. Carl Fletcher, well, this is probably Harchester's favourite son. He was in it from season 1 all the way through. Let me think now then. We'll come back to Carl Fletcher in a moment. Wes Kingsley. Now, Wes Kingsley, actor-wise, was personally my favourite. I've only given him a 100 CA because he wasn't really the greatest striker. He was quite sort of sluggish. But he is involved in one of my favourite scenes in Season 3. More about that in a moment because it involves Carl Fletcher. Lee Presley was the biggest thing since sliced bread. He was based on Wayne Rooney. Every player had a base. Like Scott Lucas was based on Robbie Fowler. Lee Presley was based on Wayne Rooney. He died. He died on the bus crash, the Millennium bus crash. And finally, Casper and Eugene Rose, two brothers that came into it in Season 9. Casper Rose died at the end. He got hit over the head. And Eugene Rose left at the start of Season 10. So, Carl Fletcher, he was in it from Season 1. Let me think now. Season 1, Season 2. Season 3, he left to go to Real Mallorca at the end of Season 2. Came back during Season 3 to score against them. Then made a move to them from Real Mallorca and stayed in it for Season 3, Season 4, Season 5, Season 6. I think he went to Saudi Arabia Season 6, I think. Returned here and there. And then we didn't hear any more of him until season... he was in it here and there. I think season... I'm trying to think, right. Season 8... Season 7, we didn't hear from him, I don't think. I think he was in Saudi Arabia. He stayed there. Season 8, he returned. He returned in Season 8, overweight, and he signed. He basically, they wanted to call it a Galactico, and he came. However, he did die in Season 8 when he got pushed into a clothes peg and died. Wasn't in Season 9 subsequently. Ready for it? He was in Season 10 as a ghost. There you go. He was in Season 10 as a ghost for Porter. For the right winger. What was his name? Fuck's sake. Jason Porter. And of course, one of my favourite scenes before I go was involved Fletcher, involved Kingsley, Season 3, penultimate episode of Season 3, there's an incident on the bus. And let's just say Carl Fletcher got what he deserved. And that is my Harchester save. If you want to download it, let me know. I'm going to put it on the forums in the next week or so. I'm going to set a little challenge up where you can only play 3-5-2. You'll see that I've actually locked Wibwob. 3-5-2. You've only got 6 seasons to do everything, and the reason I'm doing that is because everybody, including non-playing staff, have a contract until 07. So your challenge is going to be you've got 6 seasons to win as much as you can, and you can't buy no one, you can't sell anybody, you can't replace anybody, blah blah blah. That's it from me, guys. Till next time, take it easy.